podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our quick publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms, and we have our own apps for Apple and Android. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Red, your lunchtime catch-up on all things Liverpool FC and your daily reminder that the Reds are top of the league. Liverpool 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 1 in the Premier League at the weekend. A David Coote refereed fiasco that saw the Reds overcome some tremendous diving by the Brighton team and some incredible incompetence by a referee, and yet still get the 3 points and move top of the Premier League. After Arsenal went to the Etihad, parked all the buses, played in an immensely cowardly fashion for a team that we're told are the best in the land, played at a 0-0 draw, Liverpool take top spot in the Premier League. And that, my friends, is good news. And now with 9 games left, we hold a 2-point advantage at the top of the table. We've got a 3-point advantage on Manchester City and a significant goal difference advantage over City, 5 goals better off. Now, Arsenal are 6 goals better off than us, but I don't think they're going to get there points-wise anyway. Let us take a look then at the weekend's game. So, Danny Welbeck puts them 1 up after 2 minutes. We give the ball away cheaply. They counter-attack. Conor Bradley's out of position. That forces Quansah to come across, creates a rather large gap in the middle of our defence. Virgil's trying to mark 2 players, gets a touch on the ball. It breaks to Danny Welbeck, and it's the best struck shot of Danny Welbeck's career, and they go 1 up. From there, they had a decent kind of first 8 to 10 minutes, and then it was all us. Luis Diaz equalised for us on 27 minutes. Mo Salah scored our winner on 65. We really should have scored 4 or 5 goals in this game. Mo missed a great chance 1v1, having been put through by Szoboszlai. Mo took 2 ill-advised shots when he could have squared the first for Darwin to tap in, the second for Harvey to have fairly straightforward shot from about 10 yards out. But it was largely one-way traffic up until around the 78th minute. And then we got quite naive. We gave the ball away far too cheaply. We didn't see the game out, didn't manage the game well enough. And they had, they had a couple of half chances. One fell to Adam Lallana. To a good footballer, it would have been a decent chance. To Adam Lallana, it's a half chance. Queeving had to tip a Lewis Dunk header around the post. Lewis Dunk was offside. It should have been given offside. It wasn't. They then got another corner that was dangerous. But we still had opportunities. We should have had a penalty. Mo dancing in the box spun Lewis Dunk, and Estupinan came in after Dunk had sort of kind of kicked through Mo's legs as he was turning to go after the ball he put through Dunk's legs. Mo goes down, nothing given. And my thought at the time was, I'm surprised that wasn't reviewed. I've since remembered everything is reviewed. So it was a clear foul. Referee didn't give it because David Coote is a coward. And the VAR reviewed it and didn't give it. It's baffling. They allowed Brighton to referee the game in the first half. David Coote, whose mother still wipes his arse with baby wipes, and sews his name into his own clothes in case he loses them. Just allowed Brighton to make the decisions. There was an Alexis McAllister yellow card that was never even a foul, but the Brighton players demanded a free kick and a yellow card, so they got a yellow card. The Motor had a shot that went wide. He demanded a corner. He was given a corner. We had multiple Brighton players demanding yellow cards for our players, and they didn't get booked for it. Now, Danny Welbeck got booked for it in the second half, but Joel Veltman did it 3 or 4 times, didn't get booked. Pascal Gross, who had been booked for what could very easily have been a red card offence, a high foot, he'd already been booked, demanded a yellow card for one of our players and didn't get a second yellow. Very, very strange refereeing performance from David Coop. But as I said to Trev and Carl on Scouted, on Raw rather, I don't think it's down to corruption. I think he's just shit. I really do just think David Coop is a shit referee. I think that's the be all and the end all of it. You know, corruption is complex. Always look for the more simple explanation. The more simple explanation is that he's just a shit referee. We had 55% of the ball and 30 shots. We had 8 corners. They had 9 shots, 4 corners. So we clearly dominated the game. He blew 20 fouls against us and booked 5 of our players. Mental. Absolutely mental. On This Is Anfield today, 8 matches, 4 aways in a row, and 2 biggest rivals, Liverpool in April. It is a big, big month. It really is a big month. When you look at these fixtures, Sheffield United at home, that's favourable. That's one we'll win. 7:30 on Thursday. Old Trafford on Sunday in the league. We gifted them 1 win already. We gifted them a draw at Anfield. It's time we went there and slapped the life out of them again. Then on the Thursday after that, it's Atalanta at home in the first leg. And then we get Palace at home in the first leg. Sorry, in the league. Then it's the 4 aways in a row. It's Atalanta, hopefully with a healthy lead from the first leg. Then it's Fulham on a Sunday, 4:30 kickoff. Fulham are decent, but inconsistent. They're 12th in the league. They've lost 13 times. We shouldn't be looking at them as a team that we're not going to go there and beat. Because they are just, I mean, they are what they are. They're a mid-table side. There's no real reason to look at them in any other way. They've lost 5 times at home already this season in the Premier League. They lost at home to Brentford, at home to Chelsea, at home to Manchester United, at home to Burnley, and at home to Aston Villa. They've also drawn at home to Everton. Now, the Villa one you can excuse. I suppose the United one you can kind of excuse because United are significantly higher than the table. But Brentford are dreadful. Chelsea are garbage. And Burnley are crap. Like Burnley are, well, potentially finishing bottom of the league this year. And Everton are dreadful. So they've not been great at home. They have caused problems for some of the bigger clubs. They've beaten Arsenal, they've beaten Tottenham. But we should be going there and winning that game. After that, it's Everton. At Goodison in a midweek game, that is going to be tough because it's Everton. Because it's the derby. They're crap, though. Like, they are crap. They're 16th in the league. Now, they'll kick and scream that they should be, 14th if they hadn't had the points taken off them. But they were given back points that they shouldn't have been given back. They should actually be 18th in the league. Everton haven't won a game since match day 17, which was the 16th of December. Now, between now and when we play them, they play Newcastle away, you'd expect them to lose. They play Burnley home, they should win. They play Chelsea away, potentially a draw. Chelsea are crap. And then they play Forest home. They've also got Brentford after us. And while I know it's a derby, I do wonder if Dyche will look at the Forest game and the Brentford game and think they're the more important games for us to stay up. And potentially rotate his team a little bit for that midweek game. Even though it's the derby, I think Sean Dyche is smart enough to know they have far more chance of beating Nottingham Forest and Brentford, and then following on from that, Luton and the Burnley game. That's 4 winnable games for them. So it might be that he looks at our game and thinks, you know what, that's the one I'm happy enough to punt on. If we stay up, the fans won't care about anything else. Everton's run-in is actually quite easy. We're a tough game for them. That's a reason for them to maybe just not go full throttle and focus on the winnable games. Forest, Burnley, Forest, Brentford, Luton, and Sheffield United. They got very, very lucky with that run-in. So again, we should be going there and winning. And then we play West Ham in the final game of the month. Now, the Hammers were very unfortunate at the weekend. They went 3-1 up away to the Toon and then got robbed by some really, really bad refereeing. They're 7th in the league. They've been, not counting the first 4 to 5 weeks when the table is irrelevant, they've been as high as 6th at times this season. They've only once dropped out of the top half, once the table really mattered, which was match week 11. They're inconsistent, though. At home, they've won 6, drawn 6, and lost 3. Away, they've won 6, drawn 2, and lost 7. So 10 defeats on the year, 8 draws, just the 12 wins. It's mid-table, it's mid-table. They have a very potent trio that play behind their striker in Bowen, Paqueta, and Kudus. They will cause us issues. But defensively, they're poor. I mean, everybody talks about Brighton being a poor defensive team. Brighton have conceded 8 goals less than West Ham, have conceded 54 goals this season. This is a David Moyes team that has the worst defensive record in the top half. They've conceded double the amount of goals that we have while scoring 18 less. They're 7th with a negative goal differential. They're -5 on the year. So it's not like they're some juggernaut that we shouldn't expect to go there and win. They've been pumped a couple of times as well this season. Villa beat them 4-1. Fulham beat them 5-0. United beat them 3-0. Arsenal went to the London Stadium and put 6 on them. There's no reason we can't go there and win that game. And if we do, well, then we come out with 3 games left, the title in our hands. Spurs home, Villa away, and Wolves home. And we might be in a position where we can afford a draw or potentially even a loss in one of those games. So April is absolutely vital. We'll obviously also in May have, all going well, Europa League semi-finals and a final. The final, I think, is midweek after the Wolves game. The semi-finals, I think, are the week between West Ham, Spurs for the first leg, and then the second leg is between Spurs, Villa. But Villa potentially will also have European commitments in the form of the Europa Conference League. Villa, by the time we play them, might have secured Champions League football for next year. If the Premier League is in a position to get 5 spots, Spurs might also have secured Champions League football for next year. So there might be less incentive for them when we play them. than there will be when they play Arsenal and City. So this is how the fixture list has actually done us a little bit of a favour by giving us those games late on. Even though it seems tough to have them both late on, it might work in our favour. And if we get to that Wolves game in a position where we just need to win and the title's ours, then we're winning that game. We might get to that game in a position where a draw is enough. What else have we got here? There's some stats around Alexis McAllister and shows how good he's been since he's been moved into his proper position. He has been sensational. Diaz, De Zerbi and McAllister comparisons, the last word on Liverpool 2, Brighton 1. Trent reveals what was said by squad after Jurgen's shock news. It's obviously Jurgen announcing his departure a few months ago. Liverpool not interested in transfer chief wanted by Manchester United. So Nazar Kinsella, who's a Chelsea reporter, came out and said that we were trying to get Jason Wilcox from Southampton, who'd never been linked with us before, but had been linked with United. And then he was trying to make out that United were going to beat us to his signature, despite the fact that we were never interested, which is, interesting. There's obviously a lovely clip that went round at the weekend of Jurgen meeting Sean Cox. And I still don't understand how anybody could ever look at Jurgen Klopp and how he carries himself and suggest that he's not an incredible human being. It really, really does baffle the mind. David Ornstein is reporting that Pedro Marquez, who is the technical director at Benfica, is close to being appointed by FSG. You would imagine he might take on the sporting director role at the second club, with Edwards as president of football operations, sporting CEO, and then Richard Hughes with us, Marquez with the second club, in what would more traditionally be technical director roles, handling the day-to-day, overseeing processes, managing the different departments, controlling the flow of information, etc., etc., but with sporting director titles, while Edwards, who would be the nominal sporting director for both, handles the big decisions, the big picture stuff. What else have we got here? Tyler Morton tees up Fabio Carvalho for stunning goal, as Loney, unused for 10 in a row. Is worth pointing out that Archie Gray outplayed Tyler Morton to a considerable level. Calvin Ramsey not getting any game time for Preston. Jones boost, Amorim latest, and Sean Cox. So Henry Jackson has a piece up about that meeting between Jurgen and Sean Cox. Liverpool are in the race to sign João Neves. He has a release clause of 128 million. We're not going to sign João Neves. Alan Shearer still doesn't make Liverpool title favourites. Alan Shearer has had it in for us since Michael Owen exposed the fact that he was very, very close to signing for us when he was trying to force his way out of Newcastle. Burnley manager Vincent Kompany says the refereeing this season is not good enough. He wasn't saying that after the Diaz goal. He was one of them that said just get on with it. So, let's see. According to Correo de Mania, Ruben Amorim would accept a Liverpool offer, and this week is key to his send-off plan. So, I've said before, I don't think anything gets announced while Sporting are still in the title race. Now, this week, tonight, Sporting play Benfica in the second leg of the Cup semi-final. On Saturday, they play Benfica in the league. Tonight's game is important, obviously, but Saturday's one is more important. Now, if Sporting win, they are 4 points clear of Benfica with the game in hand. If Benfica win, they're 2 points clear, but Sporting still have a game in hand. So it's still in Sporting's hands at that point. But if Sporting win, then they go to Gil Vicente on the Friday. They win that one. And then they get their game in hand, which is Famalicão away, and they win that one. That would then put them 7 points clear with 5 games left. And when you look at their fixtures, Vitória at home, Portimonense at home, Estoril away, and Chaves at home, you would make them strong favourites in all 4 of them. They play Porto away, but they can afford to drop points because they have that 7-point advantage. Now, they should still go and get a result against Porto because they are better than Porto. But if they win their next 3, they'll be 7 points clear. Potentially 10 if Benfica were to lose the weekend after they play Sporting. But let's just say they're 7 points clear with 5 games left. At which point they'd be looking at Vitória and Porto as the 2 games before the end of the month. And Benfica, after these Sporting games, they have Morenz, they have Ferenc, Braga, and the games against Marseille. I think by the end of this month, Sporting will be not confirmed as champions because there'll still be 3 games left. But I think there'll be 1 win from securing the title. And their game will be a home game against Portimonense, with 2 after that to wrap it up and only needing 1 more win. I think by the end of April, we will probably have confirmation that Ruben Amorim is to be the next Liverpool manager. If it is to be him, and I'm only working on an assumption that it is. It may be somebody else, but he's the one that makes the most sense. Jurgen Klopp's injury problems have eased. Curtis Jones is back in full training, which is brilliant news. So he should be okay to be in the squad for the Sheffield United game, which means we'll have 4 starters for 3 midfield roles moving forward, which is huge. So Curtis can play the 6, Curtis can play the 8 with Alexis the 6. Curtis can play instead of Alexis with Dominic and Endo. He can play instead of Dominic with Alexis and Endo. He can play instead of Endo with Alexis and Dominic. So it's going to be really good. That'll put us in a really good position. And then beyond that, you're really looking at just a couple more weeks and Trent will be back. Diogo Jota will be back. Alisson Becker will be back. Andy Robertson should be back in the next little while as well, because it doesn't look like his ankle injury is anything too serious. I don't think Bajcetic is going to play for us this season again. I think he might just play some 21s games. For the moment, he's in partial training with the 21s. Then he's to do a week or so with them in full training and then join the first team squad. But I don't foresee him playing unless it's minutes off the bench, but I don't foresee it. I think we've got too many other better options right now. Thiago and Matip are the other 2 that I just wouldn't expect to see again this year. But Curtis, Diogo, Trent, Alisson, and Robbo all coming back in the next couple of weeks. Massive. Massive, especially if they're back for that run of 4 straightaways. That's when we really need them, is that run. And if they're back, things get really promising for us. There is a report that Liverpool are looking at Luis Guilherme, who is an attacking midfielder at Palmeiras. He's very talented. He's not the most talented youngster there. That will be Estevao, but he is very, very talented. And his game might suit European football a little bit more because Estevao is very, very lightweight. And I would worry about him just getting kicked to pieces in the Premier League. On to AnfieldIndex.com. There is a piece about Ruben Amorim. There is a piece about the Wilcox thing. David Lynch has said he expects Liverpool to sign a defender in the summer. I'd expect us to sign at least two. There's a match preview for the Sheffield United game. There's a piece about Jurgen and Sean Cox. And then podcast-wise, we are very, very busy. So if you haven't listened to Post-Match Raw, do that. There is a Bank Holiday Monday news round, which Dave Davis did yesterday. There's a rival recon ahead of the Sheffield United game. There is Media Matters with Dave Davis and David Lynch, Monday lunchtime, as you know. And there is a new Under Pressure, Dan Kennett, Cy Brundish and Hamza looking at the 2-1 win over Brighton. So loads there. Scouted tomorrow. Scouser Tommy is coming as well. Mo will be on the spot this week. Loads and loads to come. Just a reminder that the podcast that now run beyond 50 minutes will cut off on 30 minutes to hear the rest of them. You will have to subscribe to Anfield Index Pro. It is $3.99 a month and $39.99 for 12 months. So you save 2 months by signing up for the year. We put out a lot of good stuff. We really do put out a lot of good stuff. And stuff you're not hearing elsewhere. Like, you're not getting a podcast as good as Under Pressure anywhere else. You're not getting a podcast as good as Molby on the Spot anywhere else. You're not getting a podcast as good as Minefield anywhere else. And you're not getting a post-match as good as Raw. I don't care who you're listening to. You're not getting anything as good as Raw. It's me and Downey. Of course it's class. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
Sports Social Podcast Network.